Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Saturday afternoon presentation. It's so nice to see so many people on here and so many new people. So for those of you who are brand new and who don't know me, my name is Merle Westcott. I'm a Senior Presidential Director in LifeWave and I live in Durban, South Africa. And when I joined LifeWave just over 2 years ago, I had no intention of ever telling anybody about the product. Not because I didn't think it was a great product. I'd watched David Schmidt, our CEO, talk to healthcare professionals, and it made perfect sense to me. But I'd had a bad experience in multi-level marketing before when we went, I don't do this, but I'm going to use the product. But of course, when we have a product like X39, and if you haven't heard about it yet, you're in for an exciting Zoom call because it's a product that really works. And when I started seeing the results, first of all, myself, I had a shoulder injury from 2012 and that improved in the first week. Just a bit of my background, I've been in complementary healing for 30 years this year. So I'm a life alignment therapist. I'm also a qualified nutritionist. I do people's blood tests and those kinds of things. And so when I saw the difference that it made in my shoulder, I told a friend, not because I was going to, but because she phoned me just before Christmas to say, I've just come back from the physio. It's the third time this week. It's 3 months. I haven't been able to play tennis. I can't do the things that I want to do. I said, well, I'll get some patches to you tomorrow. I've had a result of my shoulder. Let's just see. And when I did that, well, I've got my husband to take her some patches. I'm going to throw. Oh, sorry, she keeps unmuting. If you do that again, I'm going to have to remove you from the call because muting is not working. Sorry, I'm not sure who that is. Somebody has just joined the call. Okay, so what happened was, as I got patches to her, and she was a one-patch wonder. 23 minutes after putting on her first X39, she lifted her arm above her shoulder for the first time in 3 months. And then started doing research and got patches to her mom who had Alzheimer's. And there was a result there too. And that was the beginning of me telling people. So from not going to be telling anybody, I started telling people. Now, not everybody is a one-patch wonder. And we need to set up expectations that your body is going to heal as and when it needs to. We're going to go into the product so you will know about what X39 does and what to expect. Today, I'm going to be presenting with Nina, who I've known for very many years through Life Alignment, over 20 years. And Nina, would you just like to introduce yourself quickly, and then I'll go into the product side of the presentation.
Yeah, so I think Merle phoned me about 2 years ago, quite soon after she joined, and asked me if I'd be interested, and I was definitely not interested. I'd also had bad experiences with multi-level marketing. And in fact, what was a bit of a shock to me was when I did join LifeWave, one of the people that I'd had a particularly bad experience with was actually quite senior in LifeWave. But I've had contact with her since then, and she's changed her attitude a lot, so that was good. Then later that same year, a friend of mine in Australia had very good results following heart surgery, breast surgery, and chemo. And she developed osteoporosis as a result of the chemo. And it seemed, I mean, I think she's been tested since then, but it seemed that she was doing very well. So from a health point of view, I joined because of general inflammation in my body. But the things that were worrying me most were my gut and my brain. And my both have improved a lot. But what's been really most exciting for me is that my brain is functioning properly. I was having all kinds of small things with memory mostly, and I just wasn't happy about the road that I was going down. And then the other thing that was important for me that changed at the time, although I wouldn't have considered myself a bad sleeper, I suddenly noticed after about 3 weeks how much the quality of my sleep had changed. And that's something that so many people talk about, is quality of sleep and how much that changes. And of course, that affects everything else in your life. Yeah, so I'm not an SPD, Senior Presidential Director. I'm a manager which they always say is the most important rank, and I'll explain a bit about that later.
Thanks, Nina. Let's go into the product side of the presentation, and then we will have some testimonies, and then we'll go into the business. So I'm in a screen share, so just give me a second to get it all happening. Okay, perfect. So the question we always start with is, have you been patched yet? Now, many people on this call are brand partners, and they have been patching for various amounts of time. But some of you may be brand new. I know somebody said we signed up yesterday, you haven't got your patches yet, or you haven't experienced patching. You really are in for an exciting ride, and you just never know what's going to happen next. And for those of you who know nothing about LifeWave, these little patches are truly remarkable and life-changing. So they elevate, activate, and regenerate the body. So we can't talk about LifeWave without talking about David Schmidt, who is our CEO and our inventor of X39. Well, he's the inventor of all the LifeWave patches. He now has over 100 patents, and it's quite something to see them. So I've just come back from Utah in January, where I was at our corporate headquarters, and all the patents are on a wall. They're all framed and they're all up there, so you can go and see them all if you choose to go and visit headquarters. It is quite phenomenal to see how many patents he has, how old they are, some of them, because some of them have been around for a while, and also he has patents for products that have not come to market yet, so they haven't been launched. So he is always developing new things. In 2008, David focused all his attention on stem cell research. It was a time when stem cells were becoming the buzzword. Dr. Mish Seagreen says that she had her first child before 2008. I think she's her second one about 2006. And that was when they came and they said, can we take the stem cells from the umbilical cord? She didn't do it, it was expensive. But that was when they started realizing that keeping baby stem cells and putting them on ice and freezing them was a way to treat children if they ever had something going wrong with them. But David said, well, there has to be a way that we can regenerate people's stem cells without putting in stem cells from somebody else. Who knows where they come from? The patent for X39 took 10 years and $4.5 million to bring to market. So what does our patent say? It says it's the embodiment as a result of elevating copper peptides. So the patches elevate copper peptides in the body. So copper peptides that activate the stem cells, including the activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, elevation in copper antioxidants, a reduction of inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. Now, getting a patent obviously costs a lot of money. There are a whole lot of things that need to be put in place before you can get it. So you need to prove all sorts of things. You need all kinds of documentation and testing. And our X39 patent was patented in 2020. So we have another 15 years left on the patent, which is quite important. And Nina will talk about that when she gets to the business side of the presentation. So why X39 stem cell activation patches? So the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. So hundreds of millions of people are experiencing symptoms of aging. You will have all seen that as people get older, their skin becomes thinner, as they bruise or hurt themselves, it takes much longer for them to repair. Same as if they get a cold or a flu, it takes longer to heal. Now, although I've been in healing for nearly 30 years, when I joined LifeWave, I didn't know that by the time you turn 30, only half your stem cells were active. And by 60, and for me, that's next year, you lose almost all stem cell activity. So I'm very pleased that I've been patching for 2 years because now I have active stem cells. So how does X39 work? It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. Now, phototherapy has been around for a very long time. We've all heard of babies who are born with jaundice and they put under lights and the lights help to get rid of the jaundice. We know that if you go to a physio or a chiropractor or even a doctor, they might be using a light on a wound to heal or on an area of injury. So that's phototherapy. Simplest form also, if you're outside, sun hits your skin, it causes a reaction in the body and vitamin D is made. So that's a kind of phototherapy too. But it's a patented nanocrystal technology. What do we mean by nanocrystal technology? So in the patch, there are tiny little crystals made of amino acids, glucose, and salts. And they are in a proprietary blend that is patented. And those nanocrystals reflect light to activate. So the light that's emitted from your body, so the infrared spectrum light emitted from your body, hits the patch, it sends a signal back into the body to elevate the copper peptides or to activate copper peptides. That can be tested with a blood test so that the copper peptides are elevated. Those copper peptides then activate the stem cells. The patches are non-transdermal, so nothing is going through that medical grade plastic into your body except a signal that's sent from the crystals. There are no drugs, there are no chemicals or stimulants, and it's non-invasive. So what are the benefits of X39? So increased strength is a big one. Mental clarity. Lots of people experience mental clarity. Nina said at the beginning it was one of the things she experienced. Reduced inflammation, that was my shoulder. Restored muscle or skeletal condition. Increased stamina. Improvement of sleep, another big one. So many people sleep better when they start patching with X39. Energy and vitality. Improved skin appearance. So it's to achieve optimal health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. And of course, we need to put the disclaimer here that LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition, even though we do see miracles every day. Now, this is results for topography map, and a study was done on a whole lot of people, and this is just one 77-year-old lady's thermal imaging. If you look on the right-hand side, you will see that if we're looking at inflammation, 13, which is the main inflammation that they can show, which is bright orange, is what you see a lot of in the first session. So session 1, the lady has not been patched yet with X39. There's a lot of inflammation in the brain, which would mean that there's no brain coherence. There's all that orange area. Within 3 weeks of patching, so after session 1, they started putting X39 on her every day. You can see there's no more inflammation and there's improved brain coherence. By session 3, which is 6 weeks on X39, there's a complete turnaround and better brain coherence. So the longer she keeps patching, the less inflammation she's going to be, the better the brain is going to be. But if that's what can happen to a 77-year-old woman's brain in 6 weeks, imagine what's happening in the rest of her body, because that's only one part of the body that they are measuring. So what are the long-term results of using X39? And this is per case study on thisisatinfo.com, which is a team website put together by Steve and Gina Merritt. And if you go to that site, you can see studies about all of the things that we're going to talk about now. So it's not just some random facts that are being pulled out of the air. So in the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset, and that is quite phenomenal. Within 6 weeks, as we saw on the previous slide, the brain becomes balanced. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. Now, collagen is not just your nails, your hair, and your skin, which is what everybody thinks collagen does. Collagen is important in every single part of your body. So people who have leaky gut, they need collagen to repair the gut lining. Collagen is what holds us together. It's involved in the cartilage, the ligaments. It's absolutely everywhere. And taking collagen doesn't give you the collagen that your own body can produce. Within 6 months, your heart reverses in age. This is my favorite quote from David Schmidt, who is our CEO, where he says, it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. Because not only do you start to look younger, but your body is actually aging backwards because things are reversing, which is really, very exciting. So how do we wear X39? So we wear our little patch, 12 hours on and 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate. And why do we do that? It's something called attenuation. So if you drink coffee, the more coffee you drink, the less impact the coffee is going to have on your body. So you're going to need more and more for that caffeine to give you that kick. Same with the patch. You need the time off so that your body still responds to the signal. When you take the patch off, you throw it away, or some people put it onto their pets or even their plants. Anything that emits light can be patched. And some people will put a secondhand patch onto their child. There is a little bit of life left in the patch when we take it off after 12 hours, but it's not something that lasts forever because that crystal starts breaking down when you wear it. The next day, we put on a new patch and repeat. Now, we can wear more than one patch at a time. And what do we mean by that? We don't mean more than one X39. That's not necessary. But we have other supplementary patches. Eon for inflammation. There's Icewave for pain. Or there's some patches that we can wear at night. So you could wear X39 and Eon during the day. And then when you take that off, you could be wearing a different patch at night. So you could be using aloe vera, which we use at night, which is for skin, or silent night, which is for sleep. So as long as it's not the same patch, you could be wearing patches 24 hours a day, but you're not going to wear the same patch for 24 hours a day. And of course, it's important to stay hydrated and drink plenty of water. And if possible, to add electrolytes to your water. It's going to make the patches work far more effectively. And of course, it's going to make you feel a whole lot better. So X39 is so sophisticated, and yet it's so simple to explain. The testimonies of X39 are life-changing and emotional. And the best thing about it is it absolutely works. So I'm going to stop sharing so that we can share some testimonies, because hearing people's testimonies is always quite amazing. And I see he's never normally on, or maybe it's Innes, but I see Pat on, and I'm hoping it is Pat, because I'm going to ask Pat, I'm going to put Pat on the spot if he is there and ask him to share his testimony, because it's quite remarkable.
Thanks, Mel.
See, there's no hiding from me, Pat.
No, never. Wow, where do I start? Yeah, I was extremely skeptical when Inez came home with these little discs. I have 3 impacted lumbar discs in my spine, an unnatural curvature of the cervical vertebra, long-term chronic arthritis in my knees, my hips, my ankles. 67 years old, but in 2016 I had a back spasm, which is when my the unnatural curvature in my upper spine was discovered. But in 2019, my chiropractor said to me, in the next 5 to 7 years, you will be in a wheelchair. There was a surgical procedure that I could go through, but very, very dangerous, and probably somewhere in the region of a 10 to 15% success rate. So we decided that wasn't an option. So I was looking forward to spending the rest of my life in a wheelchair. 2023, it was looking as if his forecast was coming very true. I was in a very bad place mentally. I was crab walking up and down stairs, and not really wanting to be alive, if I'm honest. I wasn't suicidal, but if somebody had said to me, "You won't wake up tomorrow morning," I'd have said, "C'est la vie," or "C'est la mort," actually, not "that's life." So February the 23rd of last year, after Inez had a eureka one-patch wonder moment, she started patching me very, well, all over the place, really. And she started sitting there looking at me saying, "Well, has it worked yet? Has it worked yet? Has it worked yet?" And nothing was happening, as far as I knew. So scroll forward 7 days. I did actually have my first result. In 2001, I had my gallbladder removed. And when you have your gallbladder removed, it means that visits to the bathroom can be pretty fast and furious. So everything was passing through me like Niagara Falls instead of as God intended. But after 7 days patching, things started to return to normal. And I was getting more of a log flume, which had gradually progressed and got better and better. It was about, I think, 2 weeks after that, we did a little bit of research into some of the other patches, and decided to add Eon into my regime, which we learned was an anti-inflammatory patch. And for me, that was a real game changer. And I started to notice a decrease in the inflammation. I started being able to go back to walking like a human being instead of a Neanderthal crossed with a crab. And here we are today, and things have just got better and better and better. I sleep so much better. I sleep throughout the night 8 hours, with some very vivid dreams, I have to say, not nightmares, but I remember it's something I really can't get over is I wake up with real clarity about the dreams that I've had during the course of the night. And it's often dreams about LifeWave, Merle, if I'm honest. So basically, that's my testimonial. Hope I haven't dragged on too long.
No, that's great, Pat. Thanks so much. And
No, you're welcome.
I know we got very excited when Innes shared pictures of you actually carrying shopping, because it was something that you couldn't do.
Yeah, she has got me doing more things. And this is the problem, is that I'm 67 and I keep doing things that I was perhaps trying to do when I was 25. And I do get myself into trouble a little bit. And so I have to remember that my body isn't quite ready to cope with doing those things quite yet, but maybe one day.
Thanks, Pat. Thank you for sharing your story. And we have stories
You're
from
welcome.
time. So who else? I'm not going to put anybody else on the spot. I just haven't had Pat on a call in forever, so I had to take that opportunity. Who else would like to share their testimony?
Hi.
Sally, fantastic.
Hi, hi everyone. Sally from the UK. I was introduced to the patches by the lovely Val back in November. Again, extremely skeptical. And one condition I have is, or I've had all my life, is atopic eczema. So I'm 45. I've had atopic eczema for 45 years, which is classed as something that the doctors say is, they call it atopic because it means you're never ever going to get rid of it. You're born with it, and that's that. My skin has been so bad on my hands that I've been hospitalised. I've seen various specialists, dermatologists, use potions and lotions for years and years and years. And whatever happens, I have sores and cuts all over my hands that are bleeding. I'm scratching myself to death at night. And I think a lot of people underestimate just quite how bad, eczema can take in the toll on your health. So Val got me on the patches. About day 7, I started to notice really like a slight improvement. And then I kind of tried to convince myself that it was just a coincidence, etc. And I kept going with the patches. And after 3.5 weeks, every single sore was gone off of my hands. And it's really, really strange because I am now, it's hard to understand if you've never had this kind of eczema, but I keep touching my hands and they don't feel like my hands. It feels like I'm holding my husband's hands because they're so soft. I use Eon as well, and my result has just carried on and carried on. So I'm absolutely blown away. So yeah, just to share that with you all.
Oh, thank you, Sally. I am so pleased that you shared that because it's a testimony that I haven't heard. Well, I haven't heard your testimony. And so you add to the people who've got rid of eczema because Dr. Mish Seagreen also has had eczema all her life, also in her 40s, and it's also gone. So exciting. I think with some of these testimonies, I need to get people on one at a time and record tiny little short YouTube so we can have testimonies to share. So since the lovely Val introduced you, and she has an incredible story, let's ask Val to share hers. So today we're having everybody who's overseas sharing.
There's a lot of Brits on today. That's great, isn't it?
Lovely.
It took me a little while to get the courage to go and see Sally. But the more you use these patches, the more you believe. And, I knew how bad things were for Sally. So I was determined to get her result. And she was, as she says, very, very skeptical. But by that time, my confidence was through the roof because I'm a dog walker. I had terrible hip problems, bursitis in both hips and a partially torn greater trochanter tendon in my right hip. And as a dog walker and boarder who can't walk, it's not great for the career. And I'd been going to see a consultant to have steroid injections every 6 months, and he said I would be having them forever and a day, basically. That I shouldn't expect my hips to improve, and that it was degenerative, and I should just get over it and learn to live with the pain. Well, living with the pain meant that I was living on painkillers, which were making me even more ill. And I was waking up in the night even to take more painkillers because I couldn't sleep because of the hip pain. I was going up and down my stairs on all fours and thinking I'm going to have to not just give up my dog business, but probably move to a bungalow as well. So, life wasn't looking that great. And I'd run out of options at that point. There were no surgical options for me. And so I was absolutely amazed when I saw Inez posting on Facebook about these magic circles, these funny little patches, and that she was using them on herself and Pat, but also on their rescue dogs. And that's what got my attention, because if you're giving something like this to an animal, there's no way there's a placebo. So I thought, I'm going to give these a go, ordered the patches, and in the 6 days that I was waiting for them to arrive, I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. I was so excited because I started watching calls and seeing other people's testimonials, started to see what the possibilities were. So I was excited to put my first patch on. And then I was a little bit gutted because it took a few days for things to start working. But in all fairness, I came off all my painkillers immediately. So my pain levels should have gone up, but they didn't. And over 2 weeks, the pain started to reduce. from a 6 or 7 with the occasional 8 or sometimes a 9. It went down to a 5 to 6, and then every 2 weeks I noticed the pain had reduced until we got to the stage where I was at 2 months and I had no pain. No pain, no painkillers, and no nasty steroid injections with the great big horse needle directly into my hip, which I was expecting. I was due to have one of those in June of last year, and I've not had it. I'm not having the painkillers, and I'm not having the pain. So these have been an absolute lifesaver. I am still doing my dog business, and I just can't say enough good about them. I dived into the business thinking, well, I've got 30 days to make my mind up if I want to get involved in this. And during the time I was waiting for my patches to arrive, several people said, well, if you're doing it, we want to go as well. And I suddenly had people queuing up to get the patches. And I'm so pleased, including my mother, who's 83. I won't go into her testimonial, but she's even noticed that her hearing has come back and she was deaf as a post. So, these things are absolutely incredible. You don't always know what you're going to get. Everybody is different. But I'm so pleased I've been on them. I did post earlier. Last night I went to bed and I had a horrible tickly cough, and I tried everything that was in my bedside cabinet drawer. And mostly because I was too lazy to go downstairs and find my glutathione patches. But by 3:30 I'd had enough, and I came downstairs and I grabbed a glutathione patch and I put it here, and that was the last time I coughed. So instant, absolutely instant. So I'm now keeping glutathione in my bedroom so I don't have to come downstairs and get it if I have a tickly cough as well. Lesson learned there.
Oh, thanks, Well, that's amazing. And that's a great story about glutathione.
Oh, yeah, it's
I
wonderful.
love glutathione for coughs. It's wonderful. So is there anybody else who would like to share a testimony? One last testimony. Anyone?
Merle,
Yes,
just
Nina.
very briefly, earlier this week I saw my hairdresser for the first time. Gosh, I haven't been for ages to have a cut. And she must have said to me 6 times, I can't believe how amazing you're looking. And then the other thing which she noticed is that Mel talked about age reversing. So you can see that my dark hair is starting to come back. And yeah, that's one of the things that happens. I don't particularly want to become a blackhead again, but if that's the way it's going to go, well, so be it.
We'll watch and see. Well, that's wonderful, Nina. And I mean, I last year had a phone call from a client asking, had I had a facelift? So no, I definitely hadn't. And then somebody else, well, my retired hairdresser, and she unfortunately is not patching. I wish she would. She had to stop hairdressing because of damage to her wrist. But now she was my hairdresser for 20 years, and she's still my client. So she lies on my therapy table and she looks at my face. And she asked a very good friend of mine who happens to be the practice manager in the practice where Mish Seagreen is a chiropractor, who knows me well, to ask me, had I used Botox, or ask Mish, was I using Botox? And no, I'm not using Botox, but clearly somebody who knows me that well, that she's looked at me for 20 years as me, doing my hair, and who's been on my therapy table for 20 years too, has seen a change. So it's quite interesting, the changes that do happen. So let's go back to the presentation. And thank you everybody for sharing. It's always amazing to hear testimonies. I think that's the most exciting part of the presentation. So as I said earlier, thisisit.info.com is the information website. Just to give you a little bit of guidance to have a look at it, if you go to thisisit.info, the first 4 YouTubes are really well worth watching. Then you'll find the patents, you'll find printed documents. There's a section of testimonials, all kinds of testimonials. And then right at the bottom of the website, you'll find a panel of doctors talking about their experiences. Lots of them were very skeptical. There's everybody there, from an anaesthetist and a cardiovascular surgeon to chiropractors. And you can go and have a listen to what they have to say about LifeWave and using it in their practices. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm handing you over to Nina now, who is going to do the business part of the presentation. So over to you, Nina.
So this, as you see, is a 20-year-old company. And I think what's amazing about that is the longevity, because a lot of multi-level marketing companies never make it past 3 years. That's one thing. And the other thing is the stability of the company. So it's open now in over 80 countries, not 75. I think it's up to about 87. It's not a Me Too product, which basically means most companies, they either have products for weight loss, skincare, supplements, and they may be very, very good products, but where we have a advantage over them is the patents. So a patent lasts for 20 years, and we've only had 5 years of the patents for X39. And in that time, since the stem cell patch, the X39 came to market, we've gone from being a $20 million company to over 600 million last year, and this year we're aiming for $1 billion. And it looks like it's quite possible. So that's really extraordinary. So the growth, in fact, has been over 300%, again, something quite extraordinary. And from the middle of last year, we became the #1 momentum company. So, yeah, that's of all MLMs globally. And also, I'll talk a little bit later about the team that we belong to, but this is a team which is part of, we're part of them. They're also the fastest growing team in the world. So in 2024, we earned the Global Bravo Award. And it looks like in 2025, we're about to receive the global award as well for #1 growth company in the world. So why are you here on this call? And maybe it's because of what's important in your life. So I would think that the majority of people who come to use the patches are wanting better health and also less debt or no debt. That for me has been a problem my whole life. And what happened for me, I knew that I wanted to do this partly for income, but I realized I've never really made a commitment to being a successful person business-wise. And although I'm not where I would like to be yet, I can taste the potential. And I'll talk a bit about that just now. But other reasons that you might want to be here is because of family, having more time with your family. If you use the patches and you build a business, it can give you time freedom. I think a lot of people probably don't work at the business for more than a couple of hours a day. I mean, obviously everybody's different, but you can earn enough that you can have that time freedom. There's the possibility of more security, and that can be going into your old age as well, knowing that you can actually take care of yourself in your old age. And the other thing is travel. So part of that could be incentives that the company offers, but also just your own travel, you know, the freedom to go where you want to go. The compensation plan. So I said earlier that the most important rank in this team is to go manager or to become a manager. So we work with 2 teams, and it's called a binary. And apparently, I don't really know from experience, but not many companies work in the binary. And that means that all you have is a left team and a right team. And you grow those 2 teams. And when you have 4 people under you, brand partners, which means they're people who or at least they can enroll people and they might be building a business, you become a manager. And you then support the people under you to become managers. So that's why I said it's really important to become a manager, because everybody keeps on supporting everyone underneath them to become a manager. And it's an excellent way to increase your income. So I didn't say about cycle bonuses. What that means is that when you when people in your team earn, you may not earn cash, but what you do earn is volume or points, and those points eventually translate to cash. In South Africa, we're very fortunate because although we pay a lot for our patches, we also earn a lot because we earn in dollars. Thanks. So the next thing is a matching bonus, and for this you have to be a manager. And what this means is that the people that you personally enroll, when they get a cycle bonus, you earn 25% of what they earn. So they get $50 for a cycle bonus, you get $12.5, and that's not of their money, that's of your own, that's additional money. And then on the second and third lines, you can earn 20%. You have to have a certain number of cycle bonuses yourself to be able to earn those commissions. But you may constantly have these smaller bits of money coming in as well as the cycle bonuses, and that like pushes your income up continuously. So people if they become brand partners, they've got three options. They can come in at core, advanced, or premium. Probably the most popular is core. And if you come in, you get 3 sleeves of X39, which is the foundation patch, but you can convert any number of those, 1, 2, or 3, to 2 patches of what we call supplementary patches. Then you can go to advanced, and to go to advanced, you can upgrade from core. And basically what that means is that you don't pay as if you were coming in as advanced, which is $535. You pay the difference between being a core partner and an advanced partner. Then you earn 6 patches. Again, you can customize your pack so that you may get 1 or 2 X39s and the rest can be supplementary patches. And then for people who are really serious about their business, and this is often people who are in a position to sell retail. So maybe like Merle has a pharmacy in KZN who she enrolled, but there are also people like doctors and different types of practitioners who come in at this level where they buy 20 patches and they can sell retail. Or if they are selling, they have to sell retail, which means that instead of people paying $99 for a sleeve of patches and a sleeve lasts a month, they're paying $150. And you then earn the extra $50. Do I need to say anything else there, Merle?
Just that people need to stay active, but we'll send information about the compensation plan or tell people where to find it in a minute. So that's great. Thanks, Nina. It's the next slide.
Okay. Good. Okay, so Merle has already spoken about this is at info.com. So you can take a photograph of that here or just write down the website name. The other website that's important to know about is called This Is a Team. So I mentioned This Is a Team earlier. And what this is, it's basically a business plan. So it will tell you everything that you need to know about your business. It's a bit like having a business manual. And it seems that in many companies, or if you are in a company that offers franchises, you pay a lot for the information that you get. We don't pay anything extra. Steve and Gina Merritt, who head up this team, they've got huge hearts and basically they want everybody to win. And I think that attitude filters down all the way down to everybody else in the team. And I spoke earlier about part of the beauty of this team is the community and the way that people support each other. So you don't pay anything for the information that you get. They also offer extra training, also at no cost. We really are in an incredibly good company, an incredibly good team, and with a fantastic product.
And what Nina was talking about here with this as a team, we've glossed over the compensation plan. So if you want to know more about it, I didn't know anything about the compensation plan when I signed up. You can go to This As a Team and you can go to the section that says compensation plan. And there's an amazing video by Danny Moore on YouTube with Danny McDaniel talking about the compensation plan. So there's an hour explanation of exactly how do we get compensated. We get compensated if we bring people into the business, product introductory bonuses. What about if we bring customers in? What cycle bonuses are, what cycle matches are, and it's all explained, and he draws it out on a whiteboard. So you can get all the training about the compensation plan if that's what you need to know before you make the decision to join by going to This As a Team and watching Danny McDaniel, because we can't give you all that information in a presentation. So back to you, Nina.
So thanks. So the time is now to make your move. Just think about how serious you are about your dream and whether you're prepared to take a leap of faith for everybody who's skeptical, which is a lot of people who come into this company. There is hope for your future, and there really is. I mean, both the health potential and the earning potential are just enormous. And I think you've heard that to some extent with the testimonials. And all you need to do is get started with X39. You start with that patch, and maybe that's all you use for a couple of months, and then you can see down the line. But all the information that you need, you go back to the person who enrolls you. We call them your sponsor, and they will help you to make decisions about it and to guide you.
Thank you, Nina. And so as Nina said, if you have any questions, go back to the person who invited you. If they can't answer the question, they can put you on a call with somebody in their upline who can answer whatever it is that you need to know. So thank you for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'm going to stop